fact, Bengal, Anisha, Maharashtra and Delhi also now, where these pro-protests are taking place. But meanwhile, while the protests are escalating on the ground, mostly supporting the protesting girls in Karnataka to wear their headscarf into the schools and colleges. We're getting updates now from the Karnataka High Court. The petitioner has said politicians cannot judge constitutional rights, and students meanwhile are asserting to the right to wear their headscarf or the full body veil. Anisha, because you're also tracking the court updates coming in right now, because what exactly is the petitioners putting forth? Are they talking about what is essential to religion? Are they referring to the right to education, fundamental rights, a mix of all of that? Because there's also, it appears, hijab is freedom of conscience and faith is what the petitioner arguments are right now today.
Well, yes, Pooja. Now, we need to remember that the Chief Justice of the Karnataka High Court has made a very clear request that the oral observations of the court and the oral arguments should not be needlessly speculated upon and should not be reported as such. What we are going to, however, discuss is the basic arguments that the petitioner lawyers have put forth. Remember, what the petitioners are saying is that there is an Article 25 fundamental right to profess religion, to propagate religion, and to wear and to actually display any religious ornaments or clothing as is there. Now, we also need to remember that what these students are saying is that they will follow the dress code and the uniform that has been dictated by the universities, but they also want the right to continue to wear the hijab on top of the uniform, because hijab is effectively a head covering, while the uniform is also there. So they have argued that wear the uniform as long as you let us wear the hijab in the same colors as the uniform that has been prescribed. One argument that senior advocate Sanjay Hegde and Kamat have raised is that the Karnataka government order that was passed upholding the penalties that have been put on these students, upholding the ban on the hijab.
With me, yes, because Anisha is telling us not only what is happening in the court, but also what's happening on the ground in Delhi. These protests are now escalating, spreading across. These are protesters supporting the girls in Karnataka who have said they want to wear the headscarf and they want to be allowed into the classrooms while the classes and the schools are shut for now. Nolan, what is the update coming in from the Karnataka High Court? Because this is now about hijab or the headscarf becoming about freedom of conscience, about faith, about essential rights, all of that being discussed today.
Well, in fact, he has now stated, this is Advocate Hegde, he says that constitutional rights cannot be left to the adjudication of politicians, whether they are in power or not, or whether they are elected or unelected. Basically, he is actually focusing on the government order that was issued, the notification last Saturday, which stated that if you have a hijab, you cannot enter, keeping in mind integrity, uniformity, and also public order. Furthermore, he says that the petitioners assert the right to wear a hijab on the freedom of conscience as well as their right to religion. He added that the lead case on freedom of conscience is Bijo Emmanuel, where the court decided on the freedom of conscience without going into religious practice. Now, it's also interesting because earlier on, Pooja, we had actually spoken about this part where he says the normal rule of adjudication is that if the court can dispose on a smaller question than going into the larger question, the Chief Justice then tells him that we prima facie feel that that stage is over as the issues have been referred to us, that is the larger bench, by the single bench. The single judge has already said the matter involves important constitutional issues, and that is why Advocate Hegde says that constitutional rights cannot be left to the adjudication of politicians. In fact, he is now referring to the Kerala High Court judgment which held hijab as an essential religious practice. So we have to wait and see what really takes place as of now.
Stay on with me, politicians.